What if I told you the biggest mistake most people make in life is not chasing money, but measuring their worth by it? Stay with me until the end, because the final lessons will truly change the way you see success, yourself, and your future. Let me begin with a truth that changed the way I see success. And I want you to listen to this, not just with your mind, but with your heart. Your worth is not a number, not your salary, not your bank balance, not the price tag of what you wear or the car you drive. Because money is a tool, a resource, a form of exchange, but it is not your identity. And the moment you start measuring your value by numbers, you hand over the power of your self-worth to circumstances that will never be stable. Think about this for a moment. Numbers go up, numbers go down, markets change, industries shift, opportunities come and go, and if your sense of self rises and falls with those fluctuations, then your confidence will always be fragile. I remember phases in my own journey where success was being calculated constantly. Opening numbers, contracts, rankings, comparisons. And there were moments when everything looked strong on paper, but inside, there was a quiet anxiety, a pressure to maintain, to prove, to keep the numbers growing. And that is when I realized something profound. When you attach your identity to outcomes, you stop living freely and start performing for validation. And that pressure, that invisible weight, is something so many people carry today. Maybe you felt it when your income doesn't match your expectations, when someone your age is earning more, when you scroll through social media and it feels like everyone else is moving faster, achieving bigger, living better. Slowly, without even noticing, you begin to ask yourself a dangerous question. Am I enough? And that is where the real problem begins. Because your worth was never meant to be evaluated by comparison or currency. Your worth lives in your courage to keep going when things don't work out, in your ability to learn, adapt, and grow, in your kindness when no one is watching, in your discipline when motivation disappears, in your integrity when shortcuts are available, but you choose the harder, honest path. Money cannot measure resilience. Money cannot measure character. Money cannot measure the strength it takes to rebuild your confidence after failure, or the quiet victories no one applauds. Imagine a tree for a moment. People admire the height, the branches, the fruits, but what truly determines its strength are the roots hidden underground. Your skills, your mindset, your emotional strength, your values, these are your roots. Money is just the fruit. And if you focus only on the fruit without strengthening the roots, the first storm of life will shake everything you built. But when your roots are deep, strong, and grounded, even difficult seasons cannot break you. This is why some people lose everything financially and still rise again, stronger than before, while others gain wealth and still feel insecure, anxious, and empty. Because true value is internal before it ever becomes external. And here is the spiritual layer of this lesson. You were born valuable before you earned your first rupee, before your first job, before any achievement. Your existence itself carries worth. Your potential, your consciousness, your ability to create, to love, to grow. That is your real wealth. When you forget this, you start chasing money from a place of fear. When you remember this, you start building your life from a place of power. There is a difference between earning money because you feel incomplete and earning money because you are expanding your purpose. One comes from insecurity, the other comes from self-respect, and the energy behind your actions changes everything. Have you ever noticed how people who are desperate for money often make rush decisions, accept environments that drain them, tolerate disrespect, or compromise their peace? That happens when survival becomes identity. But when you know your worth beyond money, you choose differently. You negotiate differently. You walk away when necessary. You invest in growth instead of quick gains. And most importantly, you stop panicking when progress is slow, because your confidence is no longer tied to immediate results. Let me give you a simple example. Think about a time when you failed at something financially. Maybe a business didn't work. Maybe a job didn't pay what you expected. Maybe your income dropped. Did your intelligence disappear? Did your talent disappear? Did your ability to grow disappear? No. The number changed, but the person did not. And yet, so often, we let temporary financial situations define permanent beliefs about ourselves. That is the illusion we must break. Because once you internalize this lesson, something powerful happens. You stop chasing money blindly and start building value consciously. And here is the paradox of life. When you focus on becoming valuable, money eventually follows. But when you focus only on money, you often lose both peace and purpose. So the question is not, how much am I earning right now? The deeper question is, am I becoming more capable, more skilled, more emotionally strong, more aware than I was yesterday? Because income is a delayed reflection of personal growth. And if growth continues, numbers will eventually catch up. But if growth stops, even high income cannot last. Now, I want you to reflect honestly. How many times have you delayed your happiness until you reach a certain financial milestone? I'll relax when I earn this much. I'll feel confident when I save this amount. I'll feel successful when I reach that level. But life doesn't work that way. If you don't learn to value yourself now, you won't value yourself then. Because self-worth is a mindset, not a milestone. And this is why some people earn more, but still feel behind, still feel insecure, still feel like it's not enough. The gap is not financial. The gap is internal. So starting today, shift your focus. Respect your effort, not just your results. Celebrate your learning, not just your earnings. Recognize your progress, even when the numbers are small. Because the person you are becoming matters far more than the money you are making today. And I want you to stay with this journey. Really, stay with it. Because what we're uncovering here is only the beginning. The lessons ahead go deeper into comparison, purpose, self-investment, and the mindset that truly transforms your life. And if this first truth has already made you pause and reflect, then trust me, the next insights will challenge you, strengthen you, and possibly change the way you define success forever. So don't drift away, don't skip ahead, because the most powerful realizations are still coming. And by the time we reach the final points, you may never look at money or your own worth the same way again. There is a silent habit that steals more confidence, more peace, and more joy than failure ever could. And that habit is comparison. Because the moment you begin measuring your journey against someone else's, you slowly disconnect from your own path, your own timing, and your own purpose. I want you to think about how often this happens without you even realizing it. You wake up, you check your phone, and within seconds, you are looking at someone who just got promoted, someone who bought a house, someone who launched a business, someone traveling, someone celebrating a milestone. And suddenly, your own progress, which may actually be meaningful and real, starts to feel small. Nothing in your life changed in that moment, but your perception did. And that is the danger of comparison. It doesn't just make you aware of someone else's success. It makes you question your own worth. I've experienced this myself in different phases of my career. especially when stepping into new spaces, new industries, new countries. There were moments when I was the newcomer, the outsider, the one starting from scratch, while others seemed established and ahead. And I remember thinking, am I late? Am I behind? Am I doing enough? But over time, I realized something powerful. Comparison is built on incomplete information. You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You are comparing your struggle phase to someone else's breakthrough phase. You are comparing your beginning to someone else's middle or even their ending. And that comparison is not just unfair, it is inaccurate. Life is not a race with a single timeline. Life is a collection of individual journeys, each shaped by different opportunities, different challenges, different lessons, and different purposes. Imagine a garden for a moment. Some flowers bloom in a few weeks. Some trees take years before they even grow tall enough to be noticed. But would you ever stand in a garden and tell a tree it is failing because it didn't bloom as fast as a flower? Of course not. Because growth has its own rhythm. And yet, this is exactly what we do to ourselves. We forget that our journey is unfolding according to experiences that are preparing us for something specific, something unique, something only we are meant to build or become. When you compare timelines, you ignore preparation. When you compare results, you ignore context. And when you compare constantly, you shift your focus away from growth and toward competition. Instead of asking, how can I improve? You start asking, why am I not where they are? That subtle shift drains your energy, your creativity, and your confidence. Comparison also creates a dangerous illusion. The illusion that success is limited, that someone else's achievement somehow reduces your possibilities. But success is not a limited resource. Someone else's growth does not block your path. Someone else's progress does not delay your timing. Your journey is influenced far more by your consistency, your learning, your mindset, and your patience than by what anyone else is doing. And there is another spiritual truth here that many people overlook. Comparison disconnects you from gratitude. The moment you focus on what others have, you stop seeing what you have. You stop appreciating your progress, your skills, your resilience, your small wins. And gratitude is the foundation of confidence. Without it, nothing ever feels like enough. I've met incredibly successful people who still feel behind, still feel insecure, still feel like they are not doing enough, not because they lack achievement, but because they never learn to measure their growth against their own past instead of someone else's present. That is the shift that changes everything. Instead of looking sideways, look backward. Are you stronger than you were last year? More aware, more skilled, more disciplined, more emotionally resilient? If the answer is yes, then you are moving forward. And that is the only comparison that truly matters. Let me give you a real-life example. Think about two people starting their careers at the same time. One gets a high-paying job immediately. The other struggles, switches paths, learns new skills, faces rejection, and takes longer to stabilize. On the surface, the first person seems ahead. But years later, the second person may have deeper skills, stronger resilience, broader experience, and greater adaptability. What looked like delay was actually preparation. And this is why your timing cannot be judged by someone else's milestones. Sometimes life slows you down, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Sometimes the detours you resist are the experiences that build the strength you will need later. But if you keep comparing, you will see delay instead of development, struggle instead of growth, preparation instead of progress. And comparison does something even more harmful. It pulls you away from your purpose. When you start chasing what others are doing, you may end up building a life that looks successful from the outside but feels empty on the inside. Because you are no longer following your calling. You are following trends. Real fulfillment comes from alignment, not imitation. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your original voice, your unique combination of experiences, talents, and perspective. And that originality can only emerge when you stop looking sideways and start looking inward. Now I want you to notice something practical. The next time you feel comparison creeping in, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. What am I feeling